You ain't got this thing done yet? It's supposed to be finished.
Huh?
Been working on this for months. What the heck?
How hard to find good help these days.
It's still coming along.
No, it wasn't for Nino. It'd be a lot slower going, I'll tell you.
Man, oh man. So you just tie it into the existing roof?
Yeah,
the cap of that?
Well, we've got a ledger that's lagged into the top double plate.
Okay.
And then you've got your Simpson ties, which hold the rafting.
Right.
Then we also have them tied into the tails of the trusses too.
And that'll just help cinch everything up.
Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere.
You have to have another inspection?
Oh, well, yeah, there's 2 more inspections. We've got the
electrical and plumbing.
No, the electrical, no plumbing inspection. I think they check the plumbing maybe as part of the framing, I don't know. So there's a framing inspection, which...
Here, honey, where do y'all want this food?
Oh, just out here is fine.
Okay.
The framing inspection is when they have all the plumbing and electrical roughed in, but you know, nothing actually hooked up or turned on.
Yeah.
And
so you're about what? A month away from that? Hey, I'm being optimistic here.
No, we're a ways away from that. We've got you know, right now I'm focusing on getting the roof on it. I can't do that.
All right. Now you got your little peek at Michael and his son-in-law working on their house. And now, as much as I hate doing it, it's time to dig into this stupid thing. The only reason I hate doing it is because of everything I gotta take off of this stupid thing. Put the battery on charge, because sitting over here all this time, the alarm and the key being in the ignition the whole time killed the battery. This thing's been sitting on charge. I put the charger in the passenger seat, but it's been sitting on charge for 4 days. Trickle charging. One night should have been enough to recharge it if it was capable. It's not restarting. So, that being the case, we got a replacement for it. And of course the hood's not going to stay up, so anyway, Mama should have her replacement battery back, or her car back soon at this point. Okay, I'll tighten them up. Anyhow, there's the replacement battery for it. And everything's in the right place, so it's just going to be a matter of taking one off and putting the other one back on. And there you have it. This one ain't as wide. It's taller, but not as wide. So it's a good thing she still got her hood mat on hers. You might wind up having to put those little plastic shields back over everything. Yeah, I wound up customizing those. Cutting it out for the wire and keeping the terminal covered. That way we won't have to worry about it shorting out on anything. But there's that. Now to get it in the garage. That's the new battery in there. Like I said, it's taller. But I'm getting ready to take the alternator out. So I'm going to unhook the positive battery cable. Kinda because don't unhook the positive battery cable, which is the one that runs to the start, or the alternator rather, bad things can happen. Dang it, shouldn't have tapped it on there. There we go. Put that back on there right now just for safety's sake. I'm not a safety first kind of person, but you know, can't hurt. Now the fun stuff. I know this air box is probably got to come out. But then I got to figure out how I've got to finagle down in here to get the serpentine belt off. Because that's going to be fun. And I'm being very sarcastic in case you hadn't picked up on that. Okay. Got to get a screwdriver after this air box. Okay. So I took the air cleaner off. Stuck my 1/2 inch breaker bar down in there. Now it's got a hold of that breaker bar, but the belt is off. So it wasn't near as hard as I thought. And I'm hoping the rest of this installation goes the same way. Because what I gotta do, jack this thing up, take that wheel off, the whole brake assembly, and the drive shaft before I can even touch the alternator. Now, in case you're not familiar with Saab or Bosch alternators in specific, this one I have to take the pulley off of the old alternator before I can put this one on. So that's another added little bit of fun. $350 sitting right there. And by the way, I'm not just panting because I'm out of shape. There is that too. But it's hotter than heck out today. Of course, me being overweight doesn't help. May have actually rolled that too far forward. Yep, I did. Okay, so have to squeeze my fat butt in there and roll it back a little bit. Come on. There. Don't need the truck extensions on a car. So I need to roll it back about a foot. But I don't have to start it up to do that. Whew. Anyway.
question?
I probably don't have a good answer.
I'll tell you this, okay? I've been up since sunup, so I'm not going to be of much help.
Oh, you're fine.
But now see, that looks perfectly normal to me. But when I looked to check on your battery charger, it looked like the motor mount was busted. It looks like the thing was motor sitting down like that.
It's completely busted. I need to replace those too.
But I mean, looking at here though, it looks like it's sitting pretty normal.
Yeah, it's because it's not sitting on an angle. If you'd been in the car or near the car when I went to come in here, as soon as I gave it throttle, you'd heard the engine shift back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're taking a little bit. I was wondering, damn, that thing looks sloppy.
Yeah. Of course, I still hate these lug nuts like this. But yeah, the belt came off relatively easy. I just stuck my 1/2-inch breaker bar in. And sort of that little thing on the pulley on the very top.
Yeah.
Pulled it back, belt came right off. It stayed there, so I was holding the hood up too, because her hood shocks don't work either.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, you cut and made your cheese and you got the video going.
Yeah.
Jeez. I was going to tell you, you left your breaker bar over here, by the way.
Yeah, I thought about that after I got back home and in bed.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute,
Suddenly became not a priority.
Yeah, nah. Especially not the way I was feeling then. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I wasn't hurting like I had been, but I could tell I'd done something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta weld all that crap back together and get her a new piece to go in the middle.
Jeez.
I'm not buying her a whole new muffler for this thing. She wants one she can save up her pennies and get it herself.
See you later, guys.
Bye, Reno. Good night. See you next time. Next time.
Close up everything in the house here again.
You wanna run me that air hose back in here, or do you need it?
Oh, no, by all means. Here, actually, just unhook it here.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you had an extension on it. Yeah. Getting into where I got to be is not going to be that much of an issue. It's getting that summer gun out.
Well, you know, it's like that Olds Cutlass with that, what is it, a 3.4 liter double overhead cam V6 that they had in the 90s?
I didn't even get wire hooked up to the back of that thing. Good shit. That might be the whole problem. Well, it says D and B. But that one don't have the 2 on it, it just has the 1.
Oops, sorry. I get for eating McDonald's. There has to be a heavy charging wire here coming off of that. So how long is this thing not charge the battery?
Good question.
And you also have that green wire coming across, raking across that filler tube. You need to reroute that.
Well, you need
to look at the electrical diagram for this car, because there's no way in hell that thing's going to charge with that wire being missing off the head. Unless there's another, post somewhere that we're missing. I don't see a big fat wire coming off of it.
This is the replacement. Yeah, that'll be for $350 fucking dollars.
Yeah, you gotta have there's only two places that should be hooked up. If that plastic cover that on the back, and then if it did,
The W terminal is always the tap terminal. Just so you know that. Tap terminal on German and a lot of European cars. Or Bosch, that's what that is.
yeah. Tack terminal meaning what?
Tachometer, engine tachometer.
Alright, honey, I'm going in. Do you need me to do anything out here?
No, I'm gonna shut the lights off and stuff, and I'll be in the house in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you looked up the? Yeah, it's all in Swedish.
Well, schematics. You don't need to speak English or anything for schematics. You'll see a big fat wire running from the terminal of the alternator and going to the battery somewhere. I'll see what I can look up, and I'll see what I can find in there. Maybe I'll.
That's really gonna piss me off if all it is a wire crap to bed. That's $350 I didn't have to spend.
Yeah.
But you know, it would stand to reason the way my luck runs.
Well, I thought you'd already picked it up and looked at it.
Well, I had. When I had it over here, when I first brought it over here, I did. But I didn't notice that that there was no wire on that main terminal.
Ah. Yeah.
Because I could only see a little bit in there.
Oh. All right. I'll go see what I can. I'll see what I can look up.
And I'm gonna rip this thing apart. Yeah. Dude got those. There we go. Before I get started, let me give you the 99-cent tour. Got to take this caliper off, take the spindle off, and that drive shaft that I just put on there not long ago. And once I get that out, the alternator, you can just barely see the ribs on it right there at the top of that opening. Now it's right up above that drive shaft, and if you'll see up in there, my dependable light, there's no wires attached to the back of the alternator. And there's none loose hanging around back here either. So that's what I'm up against. Now I showed you guys that because I got private message the last time that I didn't show enough of what I was actually doing or what the goal was, where you could know if I was doing it right or not.
Okay. I hope he does come back out here soon. Yep. Just to catch you up to speed, Michael still hasn't come back out, so I don't know where his hammer drill is. But I used a 1/2-inch breaker bar with the appropriate socket for this. Stuck a large screwdriver in the top part of the brake caliper bracket and broke this thing loose. There's the net. Now, the fun part begins. Oh wow, that's just pushing right through. Nice. Perfect. Gotta remember to stop that nut on there before I push the rest of that back in. Dang it, how did I do this before? Oh yeah, I remember now. Let's try 18. There we go. Two big bolts on the back side of this brake caliper bracket. See that red wire? It's attached to the starter right up there. There's a ring, an I-ring in the cable right there. There's also another I-ring for this thing. When I swapped this thing out, I put that I-ring over there, which made the one that's right there obsolete, not able to hook up to anything. I'm thinking there may be not a dang thing in the world wrong with this alternator. And we're getting ready to find out, because I've hooked it back up the proper way now. And I'm gonna put all this junk that I've ripped apart, and I have ripped a bunch apart. The whole front end on that side, but I didn't pull the axle out yet, because mostly just because I couldn't get that stinking snap ring out of that piece right there with the rubber seal on the end of it. Pain in the neck. The biggest bane of my existence is a doggone snap ring, especially when in a tight spot like that that won't come out. And of course, if you look right there, all Michael's snap ring tools are straight. Now, I bought that one right there. Red handles, but that's a piece of junk. You can't get squat off with that. I mean, it don't even try. So, I'm gonna bolt everything back together now. Drop this car down and crank it up and see if it'll run for about 20 or 30 minutes with no, I mean, it could still be bad, I don't know. But I'm thinking that since that cable wasn't hooked up, that's why it's not recharging. So I'm gonna figure out how to get this stupid belt back on the pulleys. And according to what Michael was telling me, all the plastics had to come off the inner fender well over here. So of course I went ape with it and pulled them all off. Thankfully I kept everything where I know where it all goes again. And it shouldn't be too awful hard to put back. The hardest part's gonna be the plastics, of course, because they're a pain in the neck, that and the belt. But I think if I can get the belt back on the alternator pulley, which, look at how big of that alternator pulley is. That's a tiny little thing there. But one thing I am gonna have to replace is that and its opponent on the other side over there. Let me show you. Oh, if I can find this stupid thing there. That's the other motor mount. It is cooked. So I'm gonna have to get that replaced because that's allowing the engine to slop around. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to replace that one too. Not 100% sure because it doesn't look too awful bad and the bolt's still there. So that one may be fine. It may just be that one that's causing the motor slop. But I've noticed it when you give it gas, it's like it slumps back. So we're gonna be replacing that. Not right this second, but I can do that at my house too, so no big deal. Just jack the front end of the car up to get the weight off the front end of the motor and everything. And that should drop down. Hopefully slide the old one off and just slide a new one on and bolt it up and then set it back down and we'll be good to go. That's what I'm hoping. Nothing else has been that easy on this car, so. But I got a feeling we'd probably be better off replacing both of those just as a precaution. And it only slumps back when you go to take off. I mean, you can feel it dropping back into place when you're going forward, but it mostly just slumps backward. But wouldn't you know it, it's just my luck that it's just that one wire and I went to all this trouble and all that expense for nothing. Now I get to box that sucker back up and go try and get my $350 back. Not believing that. Michael kept telling me, and it started eating at me after a while because it made total sense. He kept telling me, there's supposed to be a wire there. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, and that's probably why it's not charging. He went in and looked on several of the forums, and he couldn't tell where the wire was supposed to come from. And I kept looking around, couldn't figure out, well, where in the heck's this wire? And then I remembered, when I replaced that starter, it had 2 positive leads on it, but I didn't remember taking one off of the alternator. Well, guess what? Caused myself all this work just because I didn't remember everything I took off. Of course, I did that in my driveway. I didn't bring that over here to do it. So, and I thought sure as soon as I was done with that starter that she was good to go and wouldn't have any more trouble for a while. And then we determined that the starter was having issues too. Anyway, I'm gonna get this thing bolted back together, get that inner fender well back in it, and see if that was the whole thing. I'm pretty sure it was. So this is gonna be kind of humbling. But, you know, it's one of those things, you live and you learn. It's kind of dumb that Saab designed it like that or set it up like that, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get this hunk of crap. I swear, if anything major goes wrong with this again, there's not going to be a repair. It's going to be a take it straight to the foundry. I'll drive it into the foundry. I don't care. Push, pull, or drag, it's going to the foundry next time it messes up. Because we've already got our $800 worth out of this car. I mean, it's got little nitpicky stuff that's a total pain in the neck that just keeps, I don't know. I mean, the exhaust, which this is just a normal kind of thing to go out. Why it rested right there, I can only assume because, well, I don't know. That's not a catalytic converter there. That's the catalytic converter for this car. And then you got a flex sleeve, and I'm thinking that is why that rested. Because of it flexing back and forth all the time. And between that and the weather, I'm sure, but nothing else on the whole car is rusted. I mean, nothing. None of the body, none of the paint. Of course, back there, the exhaust is rusted off there too because of it shaking all the time. I don't know if it's rusted off or just busted off. But a new one of those weird shaped mufflers like that, 800 bucks. Nope. I'll weld that sucker right back on where it's at. Put me another piece of pipe right there and call it a day. Anyway, let's get this thing buttoned back up and see how she does. Put it back together, put the belt on it again, she's rolling. Yeah, sounds like you got exhaust leak up here too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So,
That may be why he said to replace it all. Because it was about what your part was, 3 something. But,
yeah, well, that broken mount
oh, that other piece
is right here.
on the motor?
Yeah, you know when you goose it and it feels like the motor's smacking the firewall?
Yeah, like it did once
It's
before.
because of the one on this side. Both the front ones need to be replaced.
Yeah.
You don't replace those one at a time. You do
Part of
them.
that sound up here is that scraper pan for the transmission that got bent that time, and it needs to be bent back out. Yeah. There was a really bad pothole at work, and it done that. Or maybe it was out here, and one of the guys got up underneath there and pulled it down a little bit.
Transmission pan is making that noise?
Not the pan, the dust cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dust cover.
I was going to say another doggone expensive repair.
Yeah.
Let's just haul it to the foundry
Dust
now
cover.
and be done with it.
Well, yeah.
I'm not doing anything else major to this car. Next thing it goes wrong, it goes to the foundry.
Yeah. Well, that's what I told her. If this didn't fix it, I'm just going to get car payments because I was not going to keep doing
Well, these
the kind of
$350 a pop parts are just kicking my butt.
car. Yeah.
Not to mention killing our bank accounts.
Well, yeah, and you're back.
But there you have it, folks. She's done. She's rolling again. For now, anyway. Let's see how much more money we can squeeze out of her. Thanks for watching.